Three Fort Music Fest is almost here. The festival will take over downtown from March 20th to the 24th. Come discover hundreds of bands with me. I bet you'll find a bunch of new faves. Think of it as a real-life playlist from your coolest friend. 5-day passes start at $295, but it's not just about the music. From beer to comedy to food and tech, there's lots to explore. Check out the lineup and snag your ticket today at treefortmusicfest.com.
Today on CityCast Boise, we're celebrating National Pizza Day. Our show team is diving into a saucy discussion to find the best slice from around the city. From nostalgic sit-down restaurants to greasy on-the-go slices, we're shouting out the spots we can't live without. It's Thursday, February 8th. I'm Nick Kwa, and this is what Boise's talking about. We're celebrating National Pizza Day this week, which is, I believe, on February 9th. Is that right, Evelyn?
That is correct.
And just to make sure that I got the pronunciation of pizza right, it's pizza, not pizza. How do you like to say it?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah, I think in Idaho we do say it like P-E-E-T-S-A. It's like pizza rather than pizza.
My Latinos like to say pizza with a good X.
Okay, yeah.
What is your favorite style of pizza? What's your go-to pizza order? I think there's like a tension between like the classics, like nothing on it, just cheese, versus, good old pie hole, which kind of has engineered it down to a chemistry science, basically, with new flavors. Blake, what is your favorite style? Like, what is the thing that you go for all the time?
Again, it does kind of depend on where I'm going. But typically, if I'm going to a place that sells, makes kind of classic, like Italian pizzas, I have to try a margarita.
Yes.
Just it's a control test, basically.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
If they fail this, they can't do much.
Exactly. It's like going to a new restaurant in Idaho, anywhere in Idaho, and like trying their fries, or whatever, like thing that they think that they do well with potatoes. It's kind of that. It's like how you evaluate a place. And I think that a margarita pizza, like well done, is honestly one of my favorite, like top 10 foods for sure, because it's something so basic with the pizza dough where it's usually one or two kinds of flour. It's water, salt, and yeast, and that's literally it. And it takes a lot of time to do well, but once you've got it locked in and loaded, I mean, there's nothing better. And then it's just, you can kind of really taste the complexity or lack thereof in their sauce, and then whatever, if they have like a cheese mixture or if it's just straight up mozzarella, which is the preferred way, and then a little basil. That's honestly my go-to if I'm trying to have a nice pizza. We can get into like if I'm just trying to be full later, but that's usually how I evaluate.
Yeah, if I'm stocking up for the winter, basically.
Exactly.
Emily, do you have the same strategy of like this is the baseline, clear the bots? What's your like favorite and like base style of pizza order here?
Yeah, I actually am not an adventurous eater, so I am one of those people who keeps it very, very simple. I love a classic margarita pizza for sure, but I will always go for a pepperoni pizza. Plain and simple. Give me a pepperoni pizza.
The classic.
Hand tossed. Yeah.
Pineapple? Yes, no? Is that something? Is that like a cardinal sin? What's the feeling of pineapple here?
Absolutely not. Not for me. I can't do it. I do not like it.
Blake?
I do appreciate it because I like sweetness on pizza, and I think that oftentimes that's what people are going for, is that they want that little bit of complexity. But it's a really funny dilemma to me because like until 250, 300 years ago, like pineapple couldn't be on pizza. Like it just wasn't grown close enough to the people who invented pizza. Yeah. And so in that sense, no, of course it doesn't belong on pizza because pizza is so much older than that. But, we live in a complicated world. And so I don't know. I most of the time am not going to go with that. I think that my question is, does salad belong on pizza?
Oh, on pizza?
On it?
Yeah.
Wait,
really?
Walk me through this. I'm not familiar with this concept.
Okay.
Is it fusion? What's going on?
Kind of, I guess. I don't know. I know that it's actually a Sicilian thing as well. Like it's
No.
There is some tradition to it, but it's essentially often, kind of a dressing adjacent to like a Caesar dressing. And then, yeah, you just like dress the greens. It's usually pretty simple. And then you just put it on top of the pizza. It's kind of like
Oh.
to me, it does get very messy. So I'm like, what are we doing?
Mhm.
Just have it on the side. So I don't usually go for it, but I don't know. I do appreciate I like a galette with like salad on top of it. So I kind of see it, but it's not usually for me.
Oh, that's funny. I had this whole shtick of like I was going to defend pineapple on pizza. I was like, I'm a
Okay.
huge Hawaiian pizza person. I'm a
Mhm.
person of industry. I believe in progress and experimentation. But that sounds whack to me. I'm out. I'm like,
You should try it. You really should.
all right, so I'm trying to wrap my head around here, sort of like the historical scene of pizza here in Idaho. Like, I imagine, like many other places, the development of like fancier, like more authentic, quote unquote, pizza joints was a fairly recent phenomenon, this far away from the East Coast, maybe. But do you have a sense of what like the original pizza spots here in Boise was?
I don't know as far as timeline goes.
Mhm.
However, I was really shocked last week. I felt like a real outsider because I asked like, hey, Boise, our newsletter readers, where are your favorite pizza spots? We were preparing for this conversation. So I was like, give us your recommendations. Let us
Mhm.
hear. And boy, did people have a lot to say. Got a lot of people talk back to me, and the most commonly referred to place was New York Richie's, and I have never been there. They do have like kind of some classic elements of it, but they seem to have kind of gone in for like, yeah, we can try to throw it on pizza and see if it works, but they do have some kind of integrity to it. I think that a lot of people said Casanova's if they want like a really good Italian style pizza. And then I think the places like Guido's and Americana also have their place in the constellation of Boise's
Right.
pizza landscape.
Wow, I have not even considered Casanovas as like kind of one of the prime spots here. It's just, and it does
Me neither,
the more
yeah.
you bring out these proper nouns, I'm like, wow, there's just so many places here.
I
Well,
know.
yeah.
I felt kind of overwhelmed by it, by like how many like people recommended places that I've never been to, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm a little out of my depth here.
Well, so when both of you were growing up in this sort of the Broad Treasure Valley area, like what were the sort of primary like early nostalgia like pizza spots for both of you? Like, were there big spots for you, Evelyn, that you kind of hit like on the weekends? What's the history here for you?
Yeah, I would say the most nostalgic Caldwell institution would be Keystone Pizza has been here since the 90s. And it's crazy because we've seen downtown Caldwell really, really grow, really develop and transform into this completely different just downtown. And Keystone remains there. And I think that's the spot that everybody growing up in Caldwell would hit.
Mm.
During like elementary, they would bring us like, oh, Keystone Pizza. And all of us were like, oh, yay, so excited. And they had their
Oh.
little arcade and all that.
Right, it's a special day. It's a special day.
Yeah. So I think it's really cool to see that Keystone is really a Caldwell like institution.
It's a keystone, and like,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Every town has to, and that's the thing. One thing that I really like about Idaho is kind of the further away you get from, Boise and the general Treasure Valley, is like every town almost has its own little pizzeria.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's like Chinese
I-
restaurants. There's like one in every even small town. Like
Right.
you gotta have
Yeah.
it.
I will say there wasn't one in the town that I grew up in, but that's also because we were a population like 600. But there was a pizza place. It was called Pizza Cash, and their like main special that they served was like chicken bacon ranch pizza, which tells you everything that you need to know about the place. And also, I think
see.
that has to be in the running for like the most Idaho pizza.
Word. So it's funny because like when I think about what I have assumed was a Boise institution historically, that would be the Pie Hole, the one on 8th,
Totally.
which my friends here who grew up and going to Boise High and going to middle school here talk about like hitting up 8th Street and like going to Pie Hole like during lunch or something like that. And honestly, it has this kind of vibe still that feels very much like straight out of the 90s, like it's straight out of Reality Bites or something.
Totally. Yeah.
And of course now, like there's this entire wave of slightly, shall we say, upscale pizza. I'm thinking like specifically of the Waldo downtown and places where you sit down and make a night of it. Are you all big bougie pizza people, if you want to call it that?
I appreciate the opportunity to like get a pizza while you're also like getting something else. Like if you're kind of like sharing a big table, I think it's a great option.
Like
But
a
it does
family
have to
style
be
deal, basically.
Yeah, it does have to
Yeah.
be done really well though. Like it has to be good, or else I'm like, you just thought that you could like throw together a pizza and just kind of like put whatever you wanted on it. Like I'm not gonna pay $30 for this. Sometimes that like the cost factor when it's a pizza like that, I'm like, okay, but are you doing your homework? And I get a little
Yeah.
grumpy about it.
Yeah.
What about
yeah.
you, Evelyn?
I am a big fan of the Wilder. I've been there twice. My friend and I, it was our first time going. We each ordered our own pizza without realizing it's a full-on pizza. And we're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? So I basically went home with a full pizza. And the second time I went was with a bigger group. And that was really nice because we all just ordered a bunch of pizzas, a bunch of salads, and did that whole family style bottles of wine. And I loved it. It was so fun. So I am a big fan of that experience.
Yeah, it's a classic kind of thing where you take the everyday meal and try to like make it into something like really an event, right? And
Yeah.
that's something that I feel is like the special, the unique thing that Wilder brings to the table here.
I don't know, like even places that I think of as like not necessarily like kind of strictly Italian places that do pizza like as kind of one of their main things. I'm thinking of like the newish Black Moon in Garden City. They're nice, but they still have like it kind of has like a black and white like gingham aesthetic to it, where that doesn't feel like it meshes well with kind of the upscale vibe, which I appreciate, but I don't know. I can't think of anywhere other than the Wilder that does it.
Guida's has been my go-to since I moved here.
Totally.
You know, I used to live in the East Coast. They present themselves as an East Coast pizza, and let me tell you, they're right.
They deliver.
It's up there.
Yeah,
it's up there.
Yeah.
Evelyn, is there any late night spots that you hit in the general Treasure Valley area that you associate with late nights, big party, big come down, big pizza? What's the move?
I'm not afraid to admit that I am a nightlife girl. I enjoy going out at night. And of course, Pie Hole's always a classic. I was just at this event at the Treefort Hall and they had Pie Hole there. I had no idea. Everybody was grabbing their drinks at the bar and they had a little Pie Hole station there. And I was like, what?
Excellent partnership. Absolutely.
Yes. But also, if you are in Nampa, there's Messengers. And I think Messengers is pretty similar to Pie Hole in the sense that you can buy it from the slice. I think that's just so easy. You can, of course, order your whole pizza. But yeah, late nights, I think that vibe of just like kind of a thin, greasy pizza, that is the way to go.
Are any of you chain people? I grew up in a country that didn't have a ton of like, quote unquote authentic pizza. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And so, listen, Pizza Hut was my church. Love it. It was such a treat,
okay.
such a treat on Friday nights. But and I have a really soft spot for chain pizzas, especially when I'm on the road or something like that. But I assume, Evelyn, you have some affinity for the chains out here.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I do gravitate towards chains. However, they are local spots. Like I am not afraid to admit that I am an Idaho pizza girl. I love a good Idaho pizza buffet, the lunch buffet.
Yeah.
When I was in Moscow, I just kept thinking, I miss Idaho pizza so much. It would be so smart to bring Idaho pizza to these college students, the lunch buffet.
I'm surprised that they don't have one.
Yeah.
Could
So
squeeze so much cash out of that situation.
yes.
So tell me a little bit more about the Idaho Pizza Company. Actually, I'm unfamiliar with this chain.
Are you really? So
I'm
Idaho
great.
Pizza has 16 locations, which that's a lot. That is a lot. And they just have a bunch of different flavors from chicken, buffalo Alfredo, like chicken barbecue, different, all these different flavors. But for me, their salad bar, their ranch. Come on. I have to ask, do you ranch and pizza? Do you do it?
No.
Listen, if we're gonna put salad pizza, like might as well put ranch.
Right.
Like if we throw laws out the window,
Okay,
might as well
I guess
keep
that's
going.
true, but I still don't support it.
Wait, so the Idaho Pizza Company, is it like, so when we think about, is there like an Idaho pizza? Like, does it make like, hey, this is the most patriotic statewide thing that we can make right now? Like, is there a dish there that does that?
I feel like I've seen them make like pizzas based on towns. They have an Idaho Supreme and like a Treasure Valley. Love it. Okay. I highly suggest going to, in the summer, there's an Idaho Pizza on State Street and it's like across from the Albertsons on State, like 16th.
Okay, that far down. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have actually like quite a lovely patio. And so in the summer, it, like, even though you're like right on State, it's like pretty enclosed. And so like having a pizza and a little wine on their patio in the summer is truly a delight. I love it.
Speaking of patios, another local chain is Garbanzo's. I think that's a really, really popular one here in Caldwell. There's one in Middleton, Meridian, Caldwell, New Plymouth. That's another good local spot. And I hear that they pride themselves for doing sourdough crust.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
They're fresh, hand tossed, all that.
Another solid chain that I really like for just kind of like off the wall pizza is Pizza Twist. I don't know much about this company.
That's the one down Broadway?
Yeah.
I drive by those signs all the time. I'm like, I gotta stop by at some point.
Yeah, for some reason, I always thought that it was like you remember when those like pizza cones were a thing? Sorry if they still are.
Yeah.
I never indulged. But I always thought that it was like that kind of vibe. But no, it's just like kind of classic pizza. But then they also do like various Indian flavored inspired pizzas.
Right. That's exactly the thing that keeps catching my attention.
Yeah.
And like, I'm actually kind of into this idea, even though I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They also have pretty good vegan options for it too.
Oh,
So,
I mean,
if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's such a vegan pizza is the real final frontier here. If you can make
I
a really
know,
good
yeah.
one,
Yeah, the final boss.
yeah, you've achieved something. Let's kind of crown the champion here. Like, what's the best spot? You want to go there? Do we want to go to best in this conversation?
Okay.
Or maybe more of a it's your last day in Boise. You're never coming back for whatever reason. They kicked you out. They're going to close the gates. You got one spot. Because this is gonna be a tough one for me, but I'm gonna toss it to Evelyn first here.
Definitely Costco. I'm just kidding.
Say more.
Honestly, though,
I love Costco pizza. Never lets me down. But
a great populist you are, Evelyn.
No, just joking. I would say, so it's actually an Italian restaurant in Nampa. It's called Bit of Italy. And in high school, my friends and I would always go there and just order their big classic pepperoni pizza. It was so good. I can't even, it just fills me with nostalgia, and it was so good. I don't know. It was thin and it was a little greasy, but it had so much flavor in it.
Love it.
And then, we could get a little dessert, and it was great. So that is my go-to spot always.
How about you, Blake?
It kind of depends on whether I'm going to be like staying in or if I want to go out. If I want to just, have a night in and cry on my last night in Boise, I would probably go for Americana. It feels like a very classic Boise spot to me. And so it kind of has some of the elements of Guido's, but I mean, it's right in the name, in the difference between the two. I think that it's a bit more embedded in like kind of like an Idaho area. And so I might go there. The other one that I really, really like that I feel like maybe doesn't get enough attention is Red Bench. It's up on the bench.
Oh, yes.
And they have they honestly, so far, my favorite margarita pizza that I found is at Red Bench. And they also have really, really good like Caesar salads, which is of course like a classic one to put together. And so if I want to go sit somewhere, I love Red Bench. I think that people should talk about them more.
For sure.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because I have such soft spots for Americana, for Guido's, for Pie Hole. But I gotta say, like, in recent months, and maybe it's just frequency because I got a trivia at Lost Grove Brewing down by BSU.
Oh, yeah.
But they do some of the best pizza I've had in the city.
They do
I think
really
it's a
good
relatively new
pizza.
operation. They've got maybe 4 or 5 different kinds. It's not a ton. But even, like, if you want to start with the control group, right, the margarita there, excellent. The pepperoni, excellent. And it's the dough. It really, they figured something there.
It's the
that starter
dough
must be like
always.
1,000 years old or something, but it's unbelievable stuff.
And like the crust is so well done. Like it's really nearly charred. I love that kind of thing.
yeah.
And what is it with like, breweries really nailing down the kind of like smaller pizza, but just killing it. I appreciate that. I forget about Lost Grove for that.
If you want to do the galaxy brain thing, yeast, beer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all related. I don't.
It's all right there. Yeah.
Yeah. This is my big conspiracy theory.
Cool.
Right, Blake, Evelyn, happy National Pizza Day to you. I hope you enjoy your salad pizza. Going forward.
I probably won't, but I still appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Alrighty. That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend. We'll be back tomorrow morning with our Friday news roundup. See ya. God, I'm so hungry now.